If you're anything like I used to be, you're watching this video because you're skinny and you don't want to be. My name is Tanner and I've been lifting consistently for 6 years. Now I know the title says going from skinny to jacked as fast as possible, and now you're hearing that it took me 6 years. The point is, I made tons of mistakes when starting out. A lot of people have gotten jacked in much less time than me. Maybe it's because I didn't eat enough, maybe I didn't train hard enough, maybe it's just genetics, or maybe it's just because I'm natural. This is one of the main problems with bodybuilding, since it can take up to years to see results. The only way to know you're on the right track is to follow the basics, incorporate scientific logic into your training, learn your own body, and take the advice of only very thorough peer-reviewed studies and meta-analyses. We're going to cover 10 tips that, if followed, will help you get big as fast as possible. Alright, enough wasting time, let's get into it. Tip number 1. Start lifting now and make it a habit. To preface, I started my lifting journey in high school. At the start of the year, I had no desire to work out or do any physical activity. However, I noticed an increasing number of lifting and body transformation videos on my YouTube page. After watching a couple of these videos, I started feeling super motivated and started taking fitness days at school seriously. Keeping this up, by the end of the year, I had put in so much work that I knew I had to get a gym membership so I could keep making progress. Trust me, once you start noticing the progress, it gets much harder to quit because the hard work finally starts paying off, and you know that if you're gonna quit, you're gonna lose a lot of these gains. Often, the hardest part about going to the gym is starting. People keep telling themselves over and over again that they're gonna go to the gym, but it never happens. If you haven't gotten a gym membership or started working out, this video is your sign to get a gym membership now. Enough of the excuses, today is the best day to start. If you can make yourself stick with it for long enough to become a habit, the hardest part is already over. Almost every jacked person you see at the gym is jacked because they stuck with it long enough for it to become a habit. Now, if you're anything like me, you see people at the gym and you wonder, how have these people stayed motivated for so long to look this good? The truth is, they aren't motivated all the time. They've just stuck with it long enough that the habit makes it very easy for them to go to the gym every day. The thing that's going to distinguish you from everyone else is showing up on the days that you don't want to show up. Tip number 2, align your diet with your goals. This means 2 things, a caloric surplus and high protein intake. If you're watching this video, you're probably like me. I have an extremely high metabolism, and that makes it really difficult for me to put on weight. Despite eating tons of junk food and binging chips and soda, I wouldn't put on any weight. Now, your options are to complain about how high your metabolism is, like I did, or accept it and work harder than everyone else. In order to gain weight, you have to eat more calories than your body burns each day. Pretty simple. Let's say your body burns 2,000 calories a day. Calories are just a unit of energy, so a portion of that 2,000 calories are used for thinking, a portion is for digestion, a portion for pumping blood, moving your muscles, breathing, and so on. Part of this 2,000 calorie total is called your basal metabolic rate, or BMR, which is the energy you use to survive without doing anything. The rest of the energy is just used for daily tasks. There are plenty of sites you can use to estimate your BMR, but if you're staying at the same weight every day, then you already have a good idea of how much you need to eat to maintain. Once you have a good estimate or idea of how many calories it takes to maintain your weight, add on a couple hundred, maybe 200 or 500, and stick with that. This is how many calories you want to eat each day to gain weight. The problem is, this might feel difficult since you'll feel like you're force-feeding yourself. One strategy I've learned is to eat more frequently throughout the day. Rather than eating 3 meals a day, try eating 5 slightly smaller meals. Another strategy is to focus on eating high-calorie dense foods. Calorie density is just the amount of calories per unit volume. For example, an entire head of lettuce contains only 53 calories, but a jar of peanut butter contains over 2,600 calories. This means that you'd have to eat 50 heads of lettuce to get as many calories as a single jar of peanut butter. I don't know about you, but I'd rather eat a single jar of peanut butter than eat 50 heads of lettuce. Eating high calorie dense foods will allow you to get the same amount of calories while eating less total volume of food. The thing is, if a regular person eats in a caloric surplus, they're just gonna get fat. However, your goal as a skinny person should be to get as many of those calories as possible to be converted into muscle rather than fat. Luckily, you're already working out on a daily basis, so a lot of those calories are going to be used for muscle. To boost this, you want to make sure you're getting enough protein so that your body has the required amino acids to build and repair muscle. A common number that gets tossed around online is to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This means that if you weigh 130 pounds, you would eat 130 grams of protein a day. However, some meta-analyses like this one suggest that this number tops off at 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, meaning that you'd only need to eat about 90 to 100 grams of protein per day if you weighed 130 pounds. To maximize your results, you should get to know the nutrition labels on food and learn to cook. Not only will this help you pick the right foods for gaining muscle, but it'll also help you become a healthier person. Tip number 3, understand the human body and the muscles. To get the most out of each workout, you want to understand how the human body works and how the muscles are built and repaired. I would recommend learning about the musculoskeletal system, which is the bones and the muscles of the human body. When creating a workout or deciding what exercises to do in the gym, you want to have an even distribution of exercises for each muscle group, or at least pick the right exercises for the muscles that you want to target. To do this, you want to learn the location of all the muscles, where the muscles originate and insert, and what the functions are for each of the muscles. Understanding the muscles will help you get a better mind-muscle connection, which will help you to get stronger contractions to help build more muscle. Learn what the best exercises are for each muscle group, and stick with the foundational, compound, and isolation movements. Try to ignore all the crazy, elaborate exercises you see on social media, because it's often the most basic and foundational exercises that'll give you the best results. A lot of beginners just come in and start throwing weights around without any thought, thinking that this will get them big. Instead, you want to focus on time under tension, slowing down your reps, and focusing on the eccentric part of the movement. The concentric portion of the movement is the portion of the movement where the muscle is shortening, like when you're raising your arms up in a bicep curl. The eccentric portion of the movement is the part of the movement where you return the muscle to its original size, like when lowering the weight down in a bicep curl. While our intuition tells us that the concentric portion of the movement is probably the most important, there's a lot of scientific evidence that suggests that the eccentric portion is equally, if not more important than the concentric portion. For these reasons, you want to have slow and controlled movements, especially on the eccentric part. Tip number 4, have a gym bro, make friends at the gym, and come to the gym with an open mind. Some days you just don't feel optimal. That's normal. These days make it so easy to skip the gym to stay home and binge Netflix or YouTube videos. You know that you could get the workout in, but you just don't have the motivation to go to the gym. The best way to deal with this is to have a gym partner with whom you can both mutually support each other and keep each other accountable. You want someone that is reliable, has the same fitness goals as you, and will keep you on the right path. Make a deal with someone you know and set expectations to keep each other on track. A perfect example of this is Mr. Beast and Eric. Before last year, neither one of them were into lifting. They both made it a competition to never miss a workout or else there would be consequences. In addition, they plan to do a bodybuilding competition at the end to push each other even more. If you can't think of someone to be an accountability partner for you, try making friends in the gym. If you come into the gym with an open mind and a friendly demeanor, you'll have much better workouts. And you'll be much more likely to make new friends. Tons of beginners are anxious to go to the gym for the first time because they'll think others will judge them. The interesting thing is that most of the biggest guys at the gym are actually the most supportive people there. Honestly, most people aren't going to be judging you at the gym because they're just too busy focusing on themselves. If you're still anxious going to the gym, making a couple friends or finding people that you can talk to is going to make it much more enjoyable. Tip number 5, lifting weights is uncomfortable, so try to make everything else comfortable. Especially in the beginning, don't think of the gym as this place that you need to stay 100% focused with zero distractions or enjoyment. If you like working out, it's not going to feel like a chore going to the gym. When starting out, it's most important to stay consistent and develop a good routine. One way to make things less uncomfortable is to simply wear clothes that you like. Buy clothes from your favorite gym brand or just wear clothes that you feel good in. If you don't want people to look at you, wear a long sleeve. If you want to see your progress, wear a cutoff. If you feel good about your appearance during your workouts, you're going to have a much better workout. Also, if you're feeling tired, take caffeine or pre-workout. It's best not to rely on stimulants for every workout, but if it helps you some days, then go for it. Also, listen to music, go to the gym at your favorite time, and pick the gym that you like the most. Just do whatever it takes to keep you consistent. Tip 6. Supplements may help, but don't make them a focus. In my experience, there are really only 3 supplements that are worth your money. First one is protein powder. Before talking about protein powder, we should talk about what protein is used for. Proteins are essential for building muscles because muscle fibers are made out of protein. When you damage the muscles through working out, your body uses the proteins to repair the muscles and grow them bigger than they were before. Protein powder isn't even a supplement, it's just a food. With the modern American diet, most people don't get enough protein. People are addicted to sugary, salty, and fatty foods and just forget about protein. One way to make it easier to get enough protein every day is to use a protein powder. While it might not be as cost effective as some other whole food forms of protein like peanut butter, chicken, eggs, or milk, protein powder is a very dense form of protein, which makes it super convenient. Protein powder isn't necessary, but it might make your life a little bit easier. Number 2 is creatine. Creatine is the most commonly used and studied fitness supplement of all time. I'll give a quick explanation of how creatine works so you know how it can boost your gym performance. Creatine is a compound that your body makes in small amounts, which can also be obtained from meat. Both your body and meat don't offer that much creatine, so supplementing it in a pure powder form can help you achieve more creatine in your muscles. When your muscles are working, they use a high energy compound called ATP or adenosine triphosphate to complete the contraction cycle. High intensity exercises can use up all the ATP in your muscles, which causes you to become weaker at the end of your sets. When this happens, glycogen and fat need to be broken down to replenish the ATP for your muscles to use. Unfortunately, this is a slow process. Creatine, however, can replenish ATP much faster than glycogen or fat. When you supplement creatine, you're essentially increasing the size of your energy buffer in the muscles, which allows you to last longer. Plus, creatine will make your muscles look bigger within weeks by drawing water into the muscles. Creatine is osmotically active, which means that water gets drawn into the muscles, making them appear bigger and fuller. However, once you stop taking creatine, the creatine levels in the muscles will drop back to normal, which will cause you to lose that water. Most people try to take 5 grams daily in perpetuity. Number 3, pre-workout. Pre-workout is just a mixture of compounds that improve your focus and energy, as well as some flavoring compounds and dyes. For most people, the most important part of pre-workout is just the caffeine. Other compounds like beta-alanine, citrulline malate, and taurine will allow you to have better pumps and better focus. Tip number 7, take progress photos. After a while of working out, you'll definitely have times where you don't have the motivation to work out. When looking at yourself every day, it's hard to see the progress you're making because it's such a slow process. One way to keep yourself motivated is to take daily or weekly progress photos. Once you start making progress, it's super rewarding to see where you started and how far you've came. While some people find it stressful to take photos at their worst, you will 100% regret it if you don't. Just take pictures of yourself when you start working out, save them somewhere, and don't look at them for a while. After about a year, comparing yourself to how you started will make you addicted to working out. Once you can prove to yourself it's possible, you'll become much more motivated. Tip number 8, how to be energetic during your workouts. A lot of the time I feel fine all day, but then as soon as I get to the gym, I start yawning and have no energy. While some days that might be impossible to fix, I think that a lot of the time it just has to do with your habits and mindset. There are a few things you can do to optimize your energy to be highest during your workouts. First thing, and most importantly, is to get enough sleep. Yeah, I know you've heard this a lot, but it's especially important for weightlifting and recovery. While everyone has told you to get about 6 to 8 hours of sleep, it's equally as important to have a consistent sleep schedule. Both being sleep deprived and waking up at a different time each day are going to slow down your gym progress and recovery. Another important habit is to time your pre-workout meals correctly. If you're too full during your workout, you're going to feel sluggish and drowsy. If you're too hungry, your stomach's going to hurt and you're not going to be able to focus on your workout. I've found that if you eat about 2 to 3 hours before working out, I feel the best. Otherwise, a small snack or meal an hour before the gym also does the job. This is different from person to person, so this is something you'll need to experiment with. In addition, staying hydrated throughout the day is going to give you the best performance. Finally, work out at the time you feel most energetic. If you always feel tired in the mornings, don't work out in the mornings, unless you have to. If you feel tired at night, don't work out at night. That one's pretty simple. Tip number 9, constantly increase the workload. Tracking lifts can help. One of the most important principles in lifting is progressive overload. Progressive overload is just a fancy term that means that you need to gradually increase the intensity or difficulty of your workouts over time. Simply put, you need to be constantly challenging yourself at the gym to keep making progress. This doesn't just need to be accomplished by increasing the amount of weight. Other ways to increase the intensity include doing more reps, using better form, slowing down your reps, or doing a harder variation. Honestly, increasing the weight to achieve progressive overload is probably one of the worst ways because it's most prone to injury. If you want to make sure that you're not plateauing, a good way to monitor this is to track your lifts or body measurements. I've used tons of apps and made tons of Excel documents to track how much I lift and how much I weigh. You should choose whichever tracking method you'll stick to the most. I like to record my most important lifts so that I know how much to use for the next week. Plus, seeing your progress and how weak you used to be can be very motivating. Tip number 10, be patient and have realistic expectations. Don't compare yourself to others. especially people that aren't natural. A big problem with the fitness industry is fake natties and performance enhancing drugs as a whole. What people don't realize is that there are tons of people in the gyms and online who look like they don't even take steroids but are actually taking steroids. You might see people that have been working out just as long as you but are making more progress. Sometimes impossible to know if these people are natural or enhanced. For this reason, you shouldn't compare yourself to others. I know this is easier said than done, but you should do your best to have an attitude where personal effort is the most important, rather than the results or comparisons to others. My advice, stay natural. I know how tempting steroids can be, but they're not going to make you happier in the long term. When you start taking steroids, you get a huge spike in dopamine, but things eventually return to normal, just like everything else in life. Performance-enhancing drugs often have multiple negative side effects that most people just don't see. If you're going to start taking them, just be willing to accept all the negative side effects, and make sure you understand everything about them before taking them. Thank you for watching until the end. I'd really appreciate a like on this video. Subscribe for more videos in the future. I hope this video can help you to become the person you really want to be. We're all gonna make it, brahs. See ya!